the behind the scenes stuff. All right, and I believe we are live, if I'm not mistaken. So hello everyone, welcome to the second race between Kalamahara and Islandwalk. This category is going to be one gun roundabout, as Islandwalk, who lost the first race, picked it up. I'm going to be doing commentary. I'm Tis Plus, and alongside me is SBD Wolf. Hey Wolf, how you doing?
Hey.
So this bracket stage is a best of 3 for everyone. So that means that you're going to have to win 2 races in order to advance to the next stage. And Kalamahara got the first one, so he only needs to win this one. But it's going to be a little bit tough because one-gun categories are a bit weird, right?
Yeah, not only that, but like Kalamahara is an experienced runner and everything, but Islandwalk, even though it doesn't have as much experience as Kaleva, he really took a liking to the roundabout weapon. And due to this, I think this race is going to be really close.
Yeah, roundabout is definitely a gun that is extremely interesting, simply because it offers that extra utility. Like, you can prepare some traps, like you can shoot in the opposite direction of the boss when, for example, switches phases, or it's invulnerable, I guess. And also it has that defensive mentality that you can face the other direction from the boss and still hit him. So it makes dodging a little bit easier. Similar to charge though, not that much, but yeah.
Yeah, there is a lot to know about the roundabout if you want to get competitive with this. And I don't know how much Kaleva is experienced with this, so we'll see how the race goes. And I believe we're about to start.
Yeah, and off they go. One interesting thing to talk about the one-gun categories in general is the fact that you are not allowed to shoot like the pea-shooter weapon from the beginning until you're not allowed to shoot any other weapon other than the gun that you're supposed to. In this category, it's the roundabout. So what you're going to be seeing the 2 runners do here is the tutorial clip. Usually you have to destroy the target, but since they cannot really hit the target with pea-shooter, they're going to have to click through it. Islandwalk does an amazing job. He does it like second try.
Yeah, that's amazing. And Kaleva does it as well.
You can see Islandwalk, has practiced that specific glitch on the target. I believe he was like one of the first ones to actually find a consistent way to getting it. He was like really experimenting a little bit, but he found like the proper way to dash and such. So you can see that he knows exactly what to do.
Yeah, so Islandwalk definitely had an upper edge here in the tutorial. Another option you could do, since you have to collect 4 coins in order to buy the roundabout, the fastest way now, thanks to the clip, is to do the tutorial and get the coin there. What people did, and people still do if they cannot do the tutorial clip, is they do Forest Follies, which is a running gun, and you can get coins from there. But the problem about that is that you have to spend like around 40 or 50 seconds there, simply because you cannot shoot, so the stage itself is really slow, and it is a stage that you have to complete, and it ends up wasting a lot of time. So if you can do that tutorial clip, and especially if you can do it consistently, that's a huge advantage already off the bat.
Yeah, not only a really slow running gun level, like slower than tutorial, but also pacifist. It's not the easiest thing to do. That's why some runners actually used to at least do the treetop trouble running. As both runners are going to be done with root pack, a really easy boss, so there's not really much to say about this one.
Yeah, I believe, but depending on how things go, we could see some interesting things about the next fight, Ribbon Croaks. If I'm not mistaken, you can get a really tight 1 cycle at the end, at the final phase, in the slot machine. So we'll see if anyone gets it here. I believe Islandwalk might have a bit of a higher chance, simply because of his better experience. Islandwalk has just started the fight. He's staying close to Ribbon Croaks because of a discovery basically, if you stand close to them, you can collect supercards because you're basically hitting both of them at the same time. You're only getting supercards because the Brown Frog is actually invulnerable for a period of time. And once you have enough damage, you can actually start dealing double damage in addition to supercards. So that's the reason why people usually tend to stay close to them. I believe Kaleva didn't do it as much, but I mean, that's definitely the most optimal thing to do here if you can. Islandwalk is approaching the slot machine, so we'll see.
Yeah, let's see if he gets the one cycle. It's extremely tight because you have to use those EXs properly, swing them as much as you can. He gets the Tiger, which is an attack pattern that I know Islandwalk doesn't really like that much, so I guess he opted to play a little bit safer.
Let's see if Kaleva gets it.
He's doing a really good job though, so far,
Yeah.
so he may potentially get it.
Really well. And he didn't get it. While Islandwalk actually got the knockout, he took quite a bit of a lead simply because of the tutorial. He's like about 10 seconds ahead now.
Tutorial, and also he got the second phase skip, which Kaleva didn't get.
Oh, that's right, yeah.
Also need to mention about that skip. You saw on Islandwalk's screen, he didn't get the second phase at all. Both runners got the RNG that you can skip the second phase. In this fight, if you got the flies attack first, you actually lose 10 seconds because you cannot get the skip. But Islandwalk actually managed to utilize that double hitbox that Wolf said earlier to do more damage and get that skip. But yeah, now both on Cuphead. Cuphead, like, relatively easy, I guess. It's a little bit tricky, I guess, to make sure that those roundabouts hit, but you have like a second chance since the roundabouts return as a boomerang. So it's not really that bad, I suppose.
Yeah, the Cuphead is usually really weird, and even in a roundabout, it's hard to usually hit him because he bounces around the screen a lot. But the roundabout can allow for some leniency. You have a lot of leeway here. Even if you miss a shot, it will come back and you have another chance of hitting it.
Yeah,
Islandwalk is done with the fight.
Yeah, he got a 45. I think that Kaleva will get like a somewhat similar time. I didn't really see him lose a lot of shots. He gets a knockout. Let's see what time he gets. As a interesting thing to mention about the roundabout, he got a 45 pretty much the same time, I guess. Interesting thing about the roundabout is the fact that the EX is probably one of the best in the game, but it's extremely the most difficult one to use by far, simply because you have to swing to make it swing, which is, it might seem a bit easy, but trust me, it's not that easy.
Yeah, if you use it normally, it's one of the weakest EXs in the game because the way it works is it can hit up to, I believe, 8 times, and it deals 7. Good.
Yeah.
So it can hit up to 7 times, and it deals a small amount of damage, but it really builds up, and it ends up being the strongest EX in the game if you can hit all 7 times. But again, as you said, you have to swing it back a lot in order to hit all 7 times usually. So it's not the easiest thing to do.
Now, Hilda fight is pretty much the same in, every category. Like the legacy categories, I get the glitch. I'm not really familiar in the current patch what is like better. Like you saw Islandwalk actually waited for Hilda to do an attack and then gather enough EXs to do a damage boost. Do you believe that that is like the better way to play this fight, like similar to Legacy? Or do you think you have to do like to change it up a little bit in current patch?
It's a bit complicated. Usually you want to get a face skip and hope you don't get a tornado attack afterwards. Because if you don't get a face skip, you have a chance to get like Sagittarius, and you can get one of the arrows, and you have to dodge it, which ends up losing a bit of time. But again, it depends on what cycle you run or how many cards you have. So there are a lot of different ways to play it out. You can use a Planiacs before you get the nuke to be able to still do a damage boost afterwards. There's not really an extremely incorrect way to play the fight. And as we were talking, both runners are done with Hildeberg. So far, it's a deathless run for both of them.
Yeah. Islandwalk did a slightly slower fight than Hilda, but at the same time, Kaleva didn't really do the greatest fight as well. A little bit of time save though, all this will add up in the end. Islandwalk is doing a really good job. Let's see, how he handles Cagney, which with Roundabout is actually one of the stronger weapons to use against Cagney. So, especially utilizing that swing is really easy, I guess, but not the easiest one, that's for sure. So, you see Calabar is trying to utilize those EXs right there. Islandwalk is doing a really good job as well. If you play Legacy, you are familiar with how Roundabout works, I guess, because you use Roundabout and over. So usually you want to swing those on Cagney. It's not really that difficult, usually.
Yeah, there's a ton of bit of a difficult thing. We'll see Kaleva is in the final phase, so maybe we'll see it. You can use a roundabout. Yeah, he's doing it. You can use a roundabout EX, and you can swing it, so jump above it, and still be able to hit your bullets at the peak of your jump. But in order to do that, you have to jump for a really short height. You have to really tap the button for as short amount of time as possible in order to get like the maximum amount of damage out of it.
Both runners are down with Cagney. They got a really, really great time, I guess. 49, 47. Not that bad. Usually, like the best one you can get is like low 40s. I believe you can get 42, but it's kind of difficult. Interesting route choice there for Island. I believe it's slightly slower doing the Barnes Bonbon because you're not gonna pick up the bombs. So you're gonna have to do like Bonbon, Jimmy, and Beppy, and then go back up, which without the bomb pickup loses a little bit of time. But it's like a 2-second one. It's not that big of a deal, but for a race it might matter, I guess, in the end, right?
Yeah, basically there's an NPC that gives you another weapon for the plane. And you usually want to pick that up because even if you lose about 6 seconds from talking to the NPC and doing the route, mini bombs have a few advantages that can usually save around more than 6 seconds just having them. But in this category, mini bombs are actually banned. So there is not really a reason to go do Baroness first, which is the optimal movement if you're picking up mini bombs. Hopefully didn't forget about it, because that would be pretty bad if you picked up mini bombs. Hopefully they just commentator's course.
Yeah, in theory, even if he picks up the bombs, as long as he doesn't use them, he's alright. But yeah, you're gonna have to like put that finger away from the weapon swap button. That's for sure. The runs are gonna be a little bit out of sync, as Calabar is having a really great Beppy fight, by the way. They're gonna like be synced when they approach Wally Warbles, right?
Yeah, that's where the routes really like merge together.
Yep.
Kaleva's done with Beppy.
Yeah, Beppy is a slightly slower fight than the Bonbon, so that's why Islandwalk starts Jimmy fights slightly faster than Kaleva. But yeah, after Baroness for Bonbon for Kaleva and Beppy for Islandwalk, they're gonna like meet up once again. You see that really tight window you have there to gather 5x and use the big nuke on Jimmy. This is like the optimal strategy, I guess. Hitting the pillars again with the P-Share weapon. Islandwalk is gonna use an EX as soon as the sarcophagus opens, and that phase will be done pretty much immediately.
Yeah, it's just a shame that you cannot get the glitch here. Basically, sometimes you can deal more than enough damage to deal enough damage for the phase to be over before it even begins. And on Legacy, that will actually get Jimmy stuck in that phase. It's fixed on current patch. If you do that, the phase will be over immediately. And even if you don't do that, usually people get really close to that anyway, so the phase is usually really short.
Now, interesting enough, I do have to mention that current patch airplane levels is all about pairing specific things, timings with bombs. You calculate all this stuff, and the fights are not really that different from the rest of the categories in current patch. So Calavajera will have a little bit of a lead, compared to Islandwalk, since he's more experienced to those airplane levels. So Islandwalk got a 132, but I believe that Caleva might get like below 130, simply because he knows his strats for this one.
Yeah, I believe one of the ways Kaleva can catch up to Islandwalk, like one of the best ways for him at least, is on playing levels, because he doesn't have as much of an experience with roundabout as Islandwalk. But on playing levels, Kaleva is actually one of the best players in this game for them. So yeah, he got a 128, which is one of the best times you can get without green bombs.
Extremely impressive. I remember like back in March when we had the tournament for speed gaming for the all bosses category in current patch. Kaleva had some of the better boss fights in the airplane levels. He was getting like below 1 minute on Wally Warbles, which is something that a lot of people just couldn't even imagine. Really nice movement, great EX management overall. But yeah, now Islandwalk is moving to the fight as Kaleva is on Baroness. You see, he got the yellow horse on the first cycle, in the third phase of Bepi. Roundabout doesn't really have that much damage to actually skip it. With some tech now, with a secret hitbox right below the screen, you can hit it with P-Shooter EXs, and now we can get like that skip even on the all bosses category, which we couldn't even do before.
Yeah, surprisingly enough, you can do that on low percent too. If you have like 5 EX cards and you shoot them all down below, you can then get the skip even with the yellow horse.
Oh yeah, I think you're right. I don't know if I actually did that yesterday. I don't think I did. But yeah, Islandwalk with a 121. Really good time considering the fact that he got the green horse. Kaleva is done with Bonbon. So right now you're gonna see the runners are gonna like merge the paths, I guess. Islandwalk will have a slight lead because of the better tutorial and better fights overall in Isle 1. But Kaleva actually got better fights in Isle 2, so that gap is like really small right now.
Yeah, I believe actually Kaleva caught up with Islandwalk a bit with these 3 fights in Isle 2. Also,
yeah, it looks like... go ahead. No, go ahead.
Kaleva's Jimmy fight was much better than Islandwalk by like 3 or 4 seconds. That's one thing. And,
yeah, I believe when they enter Wally Warbles, they were like 7 seconds apart. So we'll see. Right now, Islandwalk is missing a couple of shots on Wally. They got pretty much the second phase at the same time. So there might be like a chance after this fight that Kaleva might be ahead. It depends on the RNG in the last phase as well. Because it's a race, you only have P-Shooter, you might opt to play a little bit safe, and if you don't get the best RNG, you will lose a lot of time.
Yeah, Wally Warbles doesn't look like the most dangerous boss, but he's actually pretty scary. Like, it takes quite a bit to get used to his movement first, and then there's quite a bit of RNG going on, especially in current patch.
Now, you saw both runners do that pause as soon as like the little bird died. It's like a really cool thing that was discovered recently that if you pause or parry specific attacks, or if you use like whetstone or something, if you put that little bit of a pause buffer, I guess, you can make the last phase like trigger immediately, which saves a little bit of time. And you can see here Kaleva having a 15-second faster fight on Wally Warbles, so that puts him ahead right now.
Yeah, undoubtedly. Like that thing with a pause, it's a weird glitch. It works with any action that pauses the in-game timer. So it's not just pausing, it's also like using whetstone and parrying the laser at the same time that the baby bird dies. So
it's extremely rare. Yeah. But hey, we are on green matchstick and definitely the hardest boss in this category, right?
Yeah. So basically the final phase, especially for Cream, you can play it risky and try to constantly shoot him. The best way to do that would be to shoot backwards. But what happens when you do that is that the fireballs, which interact with the roundabout shots, break in pretty much in an unpredictable way. So that's definitely a very dangerous way to do the fight. If they have HP, they'll probably do it, but we'll see what they decide to do. there is another safer way to do it, which is like only shooting him when you're close enough to Grim, or when you're using the flamethrower when he's not shooting fireballs. But that ends up being like about 20 seconds slower. And seeing how close this race is, that's probably gonna determine. That's probably gonna impact who the winner is gonna be, unless one of the two dies, which is possible.
Yeah. Calavan gets the knockout. I'm pretty sure that he's super happy to see that, as Islandwalk right now 1 HP on the last phase. As we said, that is like by far the most difficult one on the Green match.
Islandwalk having a bit of a difficult time here.
Yeah, let's see if he's going to be able to clutch. And he doesn't. Nicely done. Both runners definitely so far in this run, as they are down with tile 2. Kalma had better fights overall. Someone is asking in chat. None died, but Kalma actually had better Green matchstick fight, better Wally, Jimmy, and overall better Isle too. And he took the lead from Islandwalk.
Yeah, we're just halfway into the run though, so there's plenty of time for Islandwalk to catch up.
Yeah, and bosses that can be a bit tricky. Overall, IL3 in general, in my opinion, is not that difficult. It's not harder than IL2, but it has some unique bosses that, depending on your style, each run I would say has like a different boss that they hate.
Yeah, the bosses in IL3 are definitely pretty special. They usually deviate from regular gameplay quite a bit. Starting from Honey Bottoms, I mean, look at this stage. You only have like a limited amount of ground to stand on.
Now, I believe Caliban might have gotten good RNG with Runabout. No, he actually didn't really get good RNG because he did way too much damage. Now, he's going to have a harder last phase, I believe. I mean, Runabout is not that bad in the last phase, simply because you can shoot up. But if you don't get good platform RNG, it can be a bit difficult. But he also has 3 HP, so I think he's going to be alright.
Yeah, Rumor's last phase is definitely one of the hardest phases in the game, and Caleb actually clutches it out. So because of this, you want the final phase to be either as short as possible or to completely skip it, which if you deal enough damage in phase 2, you can do it with almost every weapon.
Yeah, and talking about the last phase now, Islandwalk with 1 HP on the last phase of Rumor Honeybottom. Oh, he's doing some really close dodges there on the punches. I'm pretty surprised because I thought that he did a lot of damage on the B, but apparently he didn't really do that much damage. Usually when you get a 2-cycle on the second phase, you have a way shorter third phase. So I guess he missed a couple of hits, probably playing a little bit safer, but he managed to clutch the fight. That was really close.
Yeah, cycle-based fights can be pretty tricky in general. Kalev already a Dr. Kal's robot. There's not that much different going on in this category in particular because it's a plain stage. You don't have access to the roundabout. Oh, but he misses the nuke. So basically, there's a trick here. We'll see if Alanor gets it. If you keep a nuke for the start of phase 2, you can end it immediately. If you don't, the head is going to fly off of screen and it's going to fly around. It's hard to hit it. So it's usually preferable to have the nuke there and be able to end it immediately. Kaleva unfortunately didn't have enough cards to do that.
Yeah, he did a really good backup strat, which includes a damage booster. That was really nice. You can actually get hit by that head, and then you can see Alan will do that trick that Wolf just said. But yeah, in the backup strat, you get hit by the robot, and then you actually line up yourself and use an EX to actually kill it with a second cycle, I guess. And he gets a really good fight as well, Kalama. And Islandwalk right now in the bullet hell with 1 HP.
1 HP. 1 HP warrior.
1 HP warrior and basically low percent, I guess, with only the P-shooter. Dr. Carl is difficult with only the P-shooter, simply because you're not gonna have a really fast fight.
Ooh, bit corner. Okay.
Yeah. He got lucky there with the fire. Nice knockout.
Good job to Islandwalk. So the back attack Kaleva did is not that much slower, but the problem about doing that is that you have to use 1 HP, and the final phase can be quite a bit dangerous. So if possible, you don't want to take damage during phase 1 and 2.
Yeah, Sully, now Kaleva is on Sully stage play, and Sully is not, in my opinion, it's not really that difficult. I guess sometimes it can cause you a little bit of trouble if you get some really silly hits, but you know, that doesn't really happen that often. We say that often in races, and you know, unfortunately, a lot of the runners have trouble with her. But you know, if everything goes well, it should be like a fast fight as well.
The Sally is that boss that it's pretty simple, so people don't actually like put a lot of effort and focus into her, and because of this, she can actually end a few rounds because of people not paying attention.
Yeah, nice fight there for Kaleva. He actually got a really impressive time as well.
Yeah,
105 with roundabout is, yeah, definitely a really great time. One thing he didn't do was use his EXs. He kept a lot of EX for the last phase. I think that maybe the habit from the old bosses category that you keep and you try to use the picture EXs for the offspring hitbox kept him from using them. I believe it's like slightly faster to use them on phase 3, if I'm not mistaken.
I don't know too much about it.
Yeah, Islandwalk gets the knockout as well. He didn't really have that much trouble. He had the HP to even tank one hit from the umbrella. Yeah, again, the defensive properties that Roundabout has, throughout the whole phase 1 in Vernon Vermin, you saw Kaleva just like standing on looking at the opposite side of Vernon Vermin. He didn't really even bother approaching it. The box.
Yeah, that's a strategy with Roundabout. With most of the weapons, you have to actually aim at the boss. With a Roundabout, you can just turn back and just whack stats. There's another weapon that doesn't make it necessary to aim.
Yeah, it's like that green gun, I guess. It's a bit slow.
Green gun.
Yeah. That other green gun, I should say, since I guess Roundabout is green as well, right?
This is more like blue, I guess. Whatever. Kaleva gets the knockout. It's a 104. 104 is a pretty good time.
Yeah, 104 is definitely a good time. I believe below 107, if I'm not mistaken, is something good.
Islandwalk getting hit by the swords.
Yeah, I mean, fortunately for him, he does have like one more extra HP to spare. He uses those EXs extremely well. He makes the swings. Nicely done there.
Yeah, missing a lot of shots, but you don't. Again, with the Roundabout, you don't have to face the boss necessarily to hit it, because the Roundabout will come back and you have another chance at hitting it. So even if you miss one shot, it can still hit. Kaleva on Brandy Beat, which is one of the most infamous bosses for speedrunning.
Oh my god.
A little bit about that?
Yeah, like you pretty much have to stay extremely close to him with no matter what gun you have, I guess except from a charge shot. And there's like a lot of RNG going on since there are like so many patterns in the boss. I don't think he got that bad RNG in this fight, but you know, he's on 1 HP, so he's gonna be like really tight. Let's see, he can get a 1 cycle in the last phase if everything goes well for him. He has a lot of hits and he gets the 1 cycle. Nicely done.
Nice. The 1 cycle can save upwards to like 3 seconds or more.
And you know, potentially like a death, because you know, with the barrel and the laser beam, it can be like a little bit difficult if you're on 1 HP. Islandwalk is on Captain Bear as well. I guess a really cool tech with the Roundabout EX is that if you stand like right at the corner and you throw that EX, if you make a small top jump, you can actually make it swing, which is like a really cool thing you can do on Captain Bear. He's on 1 HP as well as Kalamahera now enters the Calamaria phase, battle, I should say. Let's see how Islandwalk handles the last phase. He plays a little bit defensively there. Oh, that was so close with the barrel.
Wow.
Yeah, extremely close there with the barrel. And he gets the knockout while the laser beam
Yeah.
was going on. I guess I didn't really mention that. Roundabout is one of those guns that if you do duck, I guess that arc that it does still hits the boss, even though you're not really directly hitting the hitbox.
Yeah. So the roundabout is not that punishing of a weapon to use. While Kaleva is on Calamaria, pretty convincing lead so far, but Islandwalk still has some time to catch up. Phantom Express can be a bit dangerous, and both King Dice and the Devil can also cause some trouble to some runners. So it's definitely not over yet.
Yeah, definitely. And we know that King Dice, if you don't get the hard RNG, even with like one heart, if you don't get any hearts at all, it can be a bit difficult. But we'll see how the RNG works for both runners. As so far, I think Islandwalk didn't really get the best RNG in Calamaria. Usually when you die Breadfish, you want to get a few parabol attacks. And he gets an extra cycle in the first phase as well, which is good as far as like safety goes, because he's gonna have the nuke for that laser attack and the EO attack, I guess. He's gonna like skip the second phase a little bit faster, but the fight overall is not as fast as could have been.
Yeah, he used the nuke to dodge the Petrifying Beam, and Calamaria's second phase is also another really dangerous phase, one of the most difficult ones in the game. Basically, the EOs can cause quite a bit of bullet hell, and that combined with the Petrifying Beam, which freezes you in place, can really cause some trouble. But if you have a nuke, you can usually skip that.
I'll work with the nice kill down Calamaria, and you saw Calamaria in the first phase of the Phantom Express. He didn't really want to do any risky stuff using like Runabout EXs there, so he opted to just like face the other way and just like shot a couple of roundabouts. Really cool thing that he does right there is just like using looking diagonally in the other direction. It makes like those swings for the roundabout happen there. He does like a couple of extra hits before like the boss spawns. As we said in the beginning of the run, roundabout is one of those weapons that you can prepare some traps. So it's really cool gun for that specific
Yeah,
thing. One
of the greatest strengths with the roundabouts that you can have is knowing when and where you can prepare traps with it. Because if you do that, you can get some easy damage and save quite a few seconds after that.
Kalamaria gets the knockout. He didn't get the one cycle. It is possible to get the one cycle in the last phase with roundabout, but it's kind of difficult. It requires a little bit of luck, I guess, with some of your EXs, maybe like lucky swings, I guess. But it is quite possible, quite unlikely. But he did a really good job as Islandwalk moves on to the third phase as well. And the Caliber on Inkwell Hell, I believe it's like close to a 30-second lead, or probably a little bit more for Caliber right now.
Yeah, loading times for both of them are pretty similar. So I guess what you can see RTA is pretty accurate. Because the way we select the winner for these races is with loadless time. So even though one runner can finish first, what actually matters is the loadless time for the winner, which if people have different loading times, since this is a PC game, that can happen. Even though somebody can finish first, the person that finished, that had a better time with loadless times is gonna win.
And you saw on your screen the one cycle in the last phase that we said about Islandwalk having the experience with roundabout. He got it. He actually landed pretty much every single shot. He missed a couple of them, but he landed most of them, like 80%, I guess, of the shots. So, if you play extremely well, you can get the one cycle. And Islandwalk did that.
Good job to Islandwalk.
Now, interestingly enough, for the RNG, as we said, for the King Dice, Calava only got one heart, and that's on number 8. So he also took one hit from the poker chip, so that might be a bit rough. Ooh, he gets a hit from Dominus as well.
Yeah, Calava's really going to have to watch out for the rest of the fight. Oh, I didn't see Islandwalk actually retry the level. Did he misroll?
I believe he wants to get good RNG with the hearts, if I'm not mistaken. Or he missed the dice, I'm not sure. Probably he missed the dice. He got like a number 3. Misrolled twice, right? As Zanik said in chat.
Yeah, and this is actually very unfortunate for Islandwalk because he's already pretty far behind. So each one of those retries is going to cost him a lot.
Yeah, definitely. Calava grabbing that extra HP there on number 8, luckily for the, but he's only gonna have like those like 2 hit points for the rest of the fight. Magic 8 Ball is not a difficult fight, so I don't think he will have that much of a problem in this one. But King Dice is not a tough fight as well, but you know it can be, I guess, sometimes a difficult one. I don't know. Nice knockout there on number 8.
Yeah, the 8 ball is definitely one of the easiest and shortest fights in the entire board. And the King Dice fight is definitely much easier on current patch than on Legacy, because on Legacy there's a specific trick that you can do on number 9 that can save quite a bit of time, but it's pretty hard to get. Here in current patch, that's patched. That doesn't exist anymore. So King Dice is not that much of a threat, but we've seen some runners dying to him. So it's still something to worry about, especially since the fight itself is really long. So it takes quite a bit of stamina to go through him.
Exactly.
And Caleva is
Yeah,
done
no.
with King Dice, and all that's left for him is the Devil. So the Devil can be a bit mean with patterns and just difficulty in general. But if Caleva is able to go through it, he should be the winner of this race.
Yeah, Devil is a little bit difficult on the current pass. Like some attack patterns can be a bit tricky to dodge. So like from the first phase, you can be like really low. The last phases are not really that difficult, but you know the pressure, I guess, of the run, being like the last boss of the run, you know, it can be a bit difficult. As Islandwalk, by the way, had some really great fights overall on King Dice, but those 2 retries definitely will cost him. So yeah, so far he gets like the Devil Clap, which is not that bad, but he gets the Spider Attack, which is definitely the worst attack pattern that you can get. Roundabout, you cannot really sneak that much damage, even though you can like prepare the trap. You can see that the roundabout hits, the roundabout shots don't really connect. But luckily for him, the Spider Attack was not really that long.
Yeah, and Alwanka is done with King Dice. So any mistake from Caleva is about to go into phase 2. But if Caleva actually messes up the Devil fight, Islandwalk will take the lead back.
Exactly. It's everyone's race until like we get the knockout on the Devil. And these 2 are extremely close to each other. So far he gets like, I mean, the second phase I guess is not really that bad, not that difficult. That third phase though can be a bit tricky. Lucky for him, he has some nuances.
Caleva is at 3 HP, so shouldn't have that much of a trouble getting through it. But I mean, two consecutive hits can happen. Phase 4, Caleva is almost done. Has to dodge his poker chips, and is done. He gets the knockout. So Caleva should be the winner of this race.
Yeah, we'll see. Like in the end, loadless time for both runners, but you know, I believe that both runners had similar load times, so it looks like Caleva did get the win in this race. He did have better fights as well. Islandwalk had a little bit of like better fights towards like at the end, like the Isle 3 bosses. Yeah, really solid play overall from Caleva. But so GG's to him. Let's see how Islandwalk now deals with the Devil, as he's approaching 1 HP there in that phase.
Yeah, he's about to have a really good time regardless, but he still has quite a bit to go through, especially with 1 HP. It's time for phase 3, which is one of the most difficult ones. He decides to take out one of the side minions, which is going to make it a bit easier to jump and dodge stuff.
Yeah, definitely. I think it's wise to do that. Oh, that
Nobody gets the death.
yeah.
That's unfortunate. We actually decided to forfeit.
Yeah. It's alright. I mean, he lost the race against Kaleva without death. It's guaranteed, but Islandwalk did have a really great race. I believe like he was like quite close to his PB as well. Jujutsu Kaleba, as he gets the victory in race 2, getting the victory from the first one as well, he will advance to the semifinals of the bracket stage. But nevertheless, I do have to say that Islandwalk did a really good job in both races. In the first one, he was like going against number 3 player in the All Bosses current patch, and Kaleva also was extremely close to his PB. So Island had to do like a monstrous performance. And he actually did put that effort. Like you can see that he was staying close to Kaleva up until like aisle 3, where the bosses get a little bit tricky. You need to know the strats, and Kaleva pulled the lead. And now in this category, Islandwalk did have the lead for the beginning of the race, and slowly Kaleva was catching up, and eventually the end of aisle 2 he took the lead with a really nice performance by both of the runners.
Yeah, Kaleva ended up being on top, but Islandwalk did an amazing job up until Devil.
So with that, as you can see here from the bracket stage, Kaleva Hera will face the guy who will be a commentator with me, SPD Wolf, and that is gonna be like a really interesting match. I will have to say, I'm really looking forward to that one.
Wait, SPD Wolf? Who's that guy?
He's a guy who has multiple world records in Cuphead. Not really that big of a deal.
What a win.
Yeah, but that's gonna be it for this specific set of matches. GG's to both runners, Kaleva Hera and Islandwalk25, who did a fantastic job throughout the weekly races as well. Next, we're gonna have a race between Jason and myself for race 2 in this specific category again. So we're gonna have Kaleva and Islandwalk join for an interview, but I'm gonna leave now to prepare, so I'm gonna leave it to Wolf. Have a good one, guys.
Alright, so you just saw the race between Kaleva and Islandwalk, and I'm just waiting for the interview now. If anybody wants to join, that is.
Hey.
Hey, we actually have Islandwalk here with us. How was the race? You did quite a good job up until the Devil. You were really close to Kaleva.
No, I started off really strong, definitely. But I was watching my splits and also watching the race. I was kind of looking at 2 screens there, and I lost so much time on the B, and I just started playing really risky from that point on, but it was too late, I think. I lost about 30 seconds on that split.
Yeah, you definitely had a really strong start, and then starting from aisle 2, you had a few unfortunate fights, especially on, I think, like the fight that set you back the most, like at least the first fight that set you back quite a bit, was Wally Warbles, because you had a 116 and Kaleva had a 101.
Yeah, I did notice that too. Yep.
So yeah, that's where Kaleva kinda started to catch up to you, and then you took the lead quite a bit later after that. We also have Kaleva here with us. Hello,
Yeah.
how are you doing?
Yeah, I'm doing good. Had a really solid run, so I'm happy about that one.
Yeah, so I want to ask you both this question. To you, Islandwalk, who you actually played this category quite a bit, and you, Kaleva, how did you feel going into this race?
Well, I haven't played this category a lot, and I knew that I lost to Islandwalk earlier in weekly races in this category, so I knew I had to pull off a solid run. But I believed if I get deathless with the strats I play with, I can beat Islandwalk, and yeah, I really redeemed myself today, I believe.
Definitely. What was your final time?
Just 33. So it's actually the second place on leaderboards. So
Wow, that's
Can't
what,
complain.
3 seconds from world record, I think.
I think it's more. I think world record is Wolf's 33:09, something like that.
Oh,
So-
nice.
Yeah,
Wow,
it's-
it's a really good run then from you. Very cool.
GG's. I didn't really look at the race during it, so I don't know what were like the breaking points.
Yeah, Alan Walk was in the lead, like for the entire Tobile 1. Then you kind of took different paths. Alan Walk went with Baroness first, while you, Caleb, actually decided to start with Peppy. And then with Wally, you were pretty much synced up. And then after Wally, you kind of started to be a little bit ahead of him.
Yeah, like actually looking at my splits, I had like my whole first aisle until Beppy was like plus 13, and I gained time everywhere, and it was looking kind of bad. I was just thinking that, where am I losing time? Holy shit! And then I started to get some really solid fights, and I had like every other split on aisle 3 was a rainbow for me here, so
Nice,
it's
nice.
cool.
Mine was the opposite. It was mostly all red from Wally on, pretty much. I just started getting red splits over and over. I don't know. I think I was playing too safe, more of a race strategy rather than going for a PB. So
Yeah, I understand.
Yeah, it's usually like that. You have a good beginning, and then you start to kind of feel nervous and conscious, like, this is a race, I can't die. So
Yeah.
it's normal to start playing a bit safer.
I had a really bad moment on Briny Bird fight where I almost panicked, and somehow I clutched it. And yeah, like I got the 3 shooter patterns first, and then when he summoned the minion, like I was just waiting for him to call the dogs, and I was like, there's no way, I'm gonna die here. And I decided to save my EXs and got the 1 cycle then, and it turned out to be a really good fight. That was like my one moment when I was really nervous during the race.
Yeah, Branny Beer can be quite a problematic fight. There's a lot going on in it.
Yeah.
I don't really have any more questions. Anything you want to add?
Not really.
that was a good race. I really had a good time. Both categories. I'm not very good at all bosses current patch, but I did enjoy that race and also the race today. And I wish both you guys luck on your race.
Yeah, thanks. You didn't really like you put up a good challenge, to be honest. Like it wasn't easy going into both of these categories. So yeah, GG's
GG.
on the whole series. And by the way, when's the next race starting between 2C and
I
Jason?
believe in a bit more than 30 minutes. I'm not sure about that. Let me check.
Okay,
Uh,
fair enough. I guess I'm out then. But yeah,
All right.
you
Thank
for
you.
commentating.
Thank you guys. Have
thank
a good
you
one.
for watching the race.
I
Yeah.
think you.
GG's.
GG's to both. All right. I'll check the schedule real quick. So the next match is going to be at 11:30 EDT. So that's in more than half an hour. That's in 40 minutes from now. So I will mute myself right now. And I don't know if I'll join commentary for next race, but look forward to next race. It's going to be the same category, and it's going to be between 2C Plus, who was in commentary with me, and Jason2890, which is with one of the best runners for this game. So don't miss the next match. I'm personally really looking forward to it. So yeah, see you then.